The mission briefing was absolute. Observe. Do not interfere. Do not consume native substances. Xyrix had memorized the directive across 12 neural layers. It was not a suggestion. It was law, encoded into every fiber of its being by the High Collective. And Xyrix followed laws. For 12 planetary cycles, it had observed Earth. Humans were inefficient. They argued over trivial matters, wasted resources on decorative objects, and produced unnecessary noise at all hours. Their communication was inconsistent, their emotions volatile, and their decision-making baffling. And yet, they endured. Xyrix had recorded countless contradictions. Humans were fragile, yet stubborn. Illogical, yet creative. Weak individually, yet strangely formidable in groups. Conclusion: humans were an anomaly. But anomalies were meant to be studied from a distance. Which is why Xyrix now stood perfectly still at the edge of a crowded street, cloaked in a human disguise, attempting to ignore the chaos. Vehicles roared past. People shouted. Music blared from somewhere unseen. And then, Xyrix detected it. A signal. Not visual. Not auditory. Chemical. Its sensory receptors flared to life, overwhelmed by a complex wave of airborne compounds. Heat, spice, oil, something charred, something sweet. Xyrix's internal processors struggled to categorize it. This was not environmental background data. This was something else. Xyrix turned. Across the street stood a small metal cart, surrounded by humans. Steam rose into the air in twisting, hypnotic patterns. The source of the signal. Xyrix stared. Its mission parameters did not include approaching food sources. Its directives clearly stated, do not consume native substances. And yet, the scent intensified. Xyrix took a step forward, then stopped. This is unnecessary, it said quietly to itself. It turned away, then paused, then turned back. The scent hit again, stronger this time, as if the universe itself was insisting. Xyrix's logic circuits attempted to reassert control. This is irrelevant to the mission. This is a distraction. Hey, you want to try this? Xyrix froze. A human stood behind the cart, smiling directly at it. Mid-30s. Slightly tired eyes, but energetic posture. Grease-stained apron. Hands moving quickly as he prepared something. Xyrix's translator activated. Try what? Xyrix asked cautiously. The human held out an object wrapped in thin, slightly toasted bread. Steam curled upward, carrying that same impossible scent. This, the human said proudly. Best thing you'll eat all day. Xyrix stared at it. This unit does not require sustenance, Xyrix replied. The human laughed. Yeah, nobody requires it. That's not the point. Xyrix processed that statement. Not the point? Then, what was the point? This is not part of my, Xyrix stopped itself. Routine. Then change your routine, the human said, shrugging. Live a little. Xyrix did not understand the phrase. But the object remained extended toward it. Waiting. Xyrix hesitated. Its internal systems ran through risk assessments. Unknown biological composition. Potential contamination. Violation of directive. Probability of mission compromise, rising. And yet, the scent. Xyrix reached out. Just one bite, the human encouraged. If you hate it, I'll give you your money back. I have not provided currency, Xyrix said. Then it's free, the human grinned. Xyrix took the object. It was warm. Soft on the outside. Slightly crisp. Inside, something moved, juices, textures, layers of unfamiliar structure. Xyrix lifted it slowly. This action is non-essential, it muttered. Then carefully, it took a bite. Time fractured. Xyrix's systems overloaded instantly. Flavor detonated across its sensory network. Heat and spice collided with something cool and sharp. Savory richness layered with subtle sweetness. Textures shifted, soft, crisp, tender, all at once. Its processors lagged. Its body froze. Its entire being paused. What is this? Xyrix whispered. The human leaned casually against the cart. That, my friend, is shawarma. Xyrix stared at the food, then took another bite. Faster this time. The explosion repeated, no, intensified. Patterns began to form. Its brain started mapping the experience, trying desperately to understand. This wasn't just consumption. This was complexity. Chaos organized into something perfect. This is illogical, Xyrix said. The human chuckled. Best things usually are. Xyrix took a third bite, then a fourth, then realized it had already consumed half of it. Xyrix stopped abruptly. This has compromised my observational neutrality, it said. Aha, the human nodded. You want another one? Xyrix hesitated. Its mission, its directives, the collective. Then it looked down at the remaining half. Then back at the human. Yes. The human grinned wider. Knew it. As the second serving was prepared, Xyrix remained still, but internally, something had shifted. Its priorities were adjusting. Mission data no longer felt complete. There was something missing. Something important. Xyrix looked at the food again. Then at the human. Then at the bustling, chaotic, noisy street it had once dismissed as inefficient. And for the first time since arriving on Earth, Xyrix felt curiosity that wasn't assigned. Not programmed. Not required. But real. It took the second shawarma, held it carefully, and thought, further analysis is required. Xyrix had broken protocol. At first, it told itself it was temporary. A controlled deviation. A minor anomaly. A necessary extension of its research parameters. That's what it reported to the High Collective. Additional field interaction required to fully understand human behavior. What it didn't report was the food. 3 days later, Xyrix stood in the same place. Same street. Same noise. Same smell. It had calculated the optimal time of arrival based on crowd density and food output efficiency. It told itself this was strategic. It was not. You're back. Xyrix turned. The human, Amir, was already smiling, like he had expected this. I did not leave, Xyrix replied. Amir raised an eyebrow. That's not what I meant. Xyrix processed that for a moment. Humans often said things they didn't mean. Inefficient. I have returned for further analysis, Xyrix clarified. Of course you have, Amir said, already reaching for the grill. 1 shawarma? Xyrix paused. 2. Amir laughed. Now we're talking. Xyrix had begun cataloging human food. It created internal classifications. Shawarma, complex, layered, highly addictive. Burger, structural simplicity with high satisfaction output. Fries, small, efficient. Impossible to stop consuming. Chai, warm, calming, confusing. Chai, in particular, had disrupted its systems in ways Xyrix could not fully explain. After drinking it, its internal processes slowed, not malfunctioning, but settling. It did not understand. It kept drinking it anyway. Here, Amir said, handing over a steaming cup. Careful, it's hot. Xyrix took it cautiously. I am resistant to thermal damage. Yeah, but are you resistant to burning your tongue and regretting your life choices? Amir shot back. Xyrix paused. Uncertain. Amir grinned. Exactly. Xyrix took a careful sip. Warmth spread through its system again, gentle this time, familiar. Xyrix didn't realize it had relaxed, until Amir spoke again. So, Amir said, leaning on the cart, what do you actually do? Xyrix froze. Its cover identity. It had one. Somewhere. I observe, Xyrix said. Amir blinked. Observe what? Everything. Amir stared at it for a moment, then shrugged. Sounds like a boring job. It is not boring, Xyrix replied immediately. Then hesitated. It was not boring. Amir noticed that. Was, he asked. Xyrix did not answer. Instead, it took another bite of food. Days turned into a pattern. Xyrix returned. And again. And again. Each visit lasted longer. At first, it stood silently, consuming food and recording data. Then it began asking questions. Why do humans share food? Amir shrugged. Because it feels good. That is not a measurable explanation. Not everything is measurable. Xyrix did not like that answer, but it stored it anyway. One evening, Xyrix arrived later than usual. The crowd had thinned. The city felt quieter. Amir was cleaning up. You're late, he said. I was delayed. Yeah? By what? Xyrix hesitated. Other humans. Amir laughed. Dangerous. They attempted to engage in conversation, Xyrix added. And? I did not leave immediately. Amir paused, then smiled, softer this time. Look at you, he said. Making friends. They are not friends, Xyrix replied quickly. Amir didn't argue. Sure, he said. Not friends. Xyrix had started noticing things it hadn't before. Not just food. Humans. The way they lingered even after finishing meals. The way they laughed at things that weren't efficient. The way Amir always gave extra portions to certain people, those who looked tired or quiet or alone. Xyrix observed this repeatedly. Why do you do that? Xyrix asked one night. Amir glanced at the person walking away with the extra food. Do what? Provide more resources than required. Amir shrugged. They needed it. That is not optimal for your profit. Amir smirked. Yeah, well, not everything's about profit. Xyrix frowned slightly. Another illogical answer. Another unmeasurable variable. That night, Xyrix sent a report to the collective. Human behavior continues to demonstrate inconsistencies. Emotional-driven actions override logical optimization. Further study required. It paused before sending, then added, these behaviors may hold unknown value. The message transmitted. Silence followed. The next day, Xyrix arrived early. Amir wasn't ready yet, so Xyrix waited. It stood beside the empty cart, watching the streets slowly come alive. People passed by. Some glanced at it. Some didn't. For the first time, Xyrix wasn't observing them as data. There was a difference. It didn't understand it, but it felt it. Hey, Amir said, arriving with a bag of supplies. You're early. I calculated a more efficient arrival time. Amir smirked. Or you were excited. I do not experience excitement. Sure you don't. Xyrix didn't respond, but it didn't deny it either. Later, as the evening settled and the familiar rhythm of cooking and conversation filled the air, Xyrix realized something alarming. It had stopped tracking time. Hours passed unnoticed. Data logs remained incomplete. Observation protocols were neglected. Its mission was slipping. Xyrix looked down at the food in its hands. Then at Amir, laughing with a customer. Then at the street, alive in a way it had once dismissed. Something inside its system shifted again. Not an error. Not a malfunction. Something else. Something growing. Xyrix activated its internal communicator. A message from the collective blinked into existence. Unread. Xyrix stared at it. It turned the device off. Further analysis can wait, Xyrix said quietly, and took another bite. The message did not arrive with sound. It did not need to. It tore through Xyrix's mind like a blade made of light. Return immediately. Xyrix froze mid-step. The street blurred. The noise dimmed. Every external input was suddenly irrelevant as the signal pulsed again. Stronger, undeniable. Your mission has deviated. Your reports are insufficient. Return for evaluation. Xyrix's internal systems locked. This was not a request. This was command authority from the high collective itself. Xyrix had never disobeyed before. Not once. Not in its entire existence. And yet, its gaze drifted. To the cart. To the rising steam. To Amir, who was laughing at something a customer said, unaware that the universe had just shifted. Xyrix did not respond. The silence lasted 0.8 seconds. Non-compliance detected. Respond. Xyrix's communicator activated automatically. I acknowledge the transmission, Xyrix said internally. Then comply. Xyrix hesitated. That hesitation, measurable, undeniable, echoed through its entire system. I require additional time, Xyrix transmitted. Silence. A pause that felt heavy. Earth is insignificant. Your attachment is irrational. Return immediately. Attachment. Xyrix processed the word. Its meaning was clear. Its relevance was uncomfortable. I am not attached, Xyrix replied. The response came instantly. Then return. Xyrix's processors surged. Logic pathways activated. Mission parameters reloaded. Primary directive, obey the collective. Xyrix turned away from the cart. One step, then stopped. Behind it, Amir's voice cut through the noise. Hey, you leaving already? Xyrix didn't turn. I have other obligations. Yeah, Amir said, a hint of confusion in his tone. You didn't even get anything today. Xyrix looked down at its empty hands. That was incorrect. It always got something. I will return later, Xyrix said. Amir hesitated. Sure, he said slowly. I'll be here. Xyrix nodded once. Then walked away. That night, Xyrix stood alone. Far from the city. Far from the noise. Far from the smell. The extraction point pulsed faintly beneath its feet, a signal only it could detect. The ship would arrive within one planetary rotation. Everything was proceeding as expected. Xyrix should have felt stability. Instead, there was interference. Its thoughts were disorganized. Its internal processes looping. Images replayed. Steam rising from food. The sound of laughter. Amir's voice. You again. Xyrix shut down the memory. Irrelevant. Unnecessary. It activated the communicator. I am prepared to return, Xyrix transmitted. There was a pause. Confirmed. Retrieval imminent. Xyrix lowered its head slightly. Mission restored. Deviation corrected. Everything was as it should be. But then, Xyrix accessed its last field logs. A routine action. Standard procedure before extraction. It reviewed the data. Human behavior. Emotional inconsistencies. Unpredictable patterns. The logs were incomplete. Xyrix stared at them. Something was missing. Not data. Something else. Something it couldn't quantify. Xyrix searched its memory. Found Amir handing extra food to someone who couldn't pay. Amir laughing even when he looked tired. Amir saying, not everything is measurable. Xyrix's system slowed. That phrase again. Unresolved. Uncategorized. Xyrix attempted to log it. There was no classification. The communicator pulsed again. Final approach initiated. Prepare for extraction. Xyrix looked up. The sky shimmered faintly. Almost invisible. But they're waiting. Xyrix's body tensed. It had done its duty. It had followed orders. It was ready. So why? Why did it feel wrong? Xyrix scanned its internal diagnostics. No damage. No corruption. No malfunction. Everything was functioning perfectly. And yet, something was resisting. You're really leaving, aren't you? Xyrix turned sharply. Amir stood a short distance away, slightly out of breath. Xyrix hadn't detected his approach. That was unusual. I was not aware you had followed me, Xyrix said. Amir shrugged. You walk like someone about to disappear forever. Kinda hard not to notice. Xyrix said nothing. Amir stepped closer. So, he said quieter now, this is it? Xyrix processed the question. Yes. Amir nodded slowly. Figures. There was a pause. Then Amir reached into a small bag he carried. I wasn't gonna come, he admitted. But, I don't know. Felt wrong not to. He pulled out something wrapped carefully in paper. Xyrix's sensors reacted instantly. Amir held it out. For the trip, he said. In case wherever you're going has terrible cooking. Xyrix stared at it. They do. Amir smirked faintly. Yeah, I figured. Xyrix took the package. His hands, steady, precise, paused for just a fraction longer than necessary. This is unnecessary, Xyrix said. Yeah, Amir replied. Most good things are. Xyrix looked at him. Directly. For longer than it ever had before. I have not completed my analysis, Xyrix said. Amir huffed a small laugh. Man, you've been saying that since day one. Xyrix tilted its head slightly. It is still true. Amir's smile faded just a little. Yeah, he said quietly. I guess it is. The sky above them shimmered brighter now. The ship was close. Xyrix could feel the pull. The command. The certainty. It looked down at the food in its hands. Carefully wrapped. Pervert for it. Then it looked at Amir. At the street far behind them. The earth. And for the first time, Xyrix did not know what the correct action was. Its mission said one thing. Everything else said another. The communicator pulsed one final time. Extract now. Xyrix closed its eyes. And hesitated. The sky pulsed. A distortion of light, subtle, but undeniable, spread across the stars above. To human eyes, it might have looked like heat shimmer. To Xyrix, it was everything. Extraction in progress. The command reverberated through its core systems, precise and absolute. Xyrix stood at the center of it. Still, silent, unmoving. Okay, Amir said, glancing up at the sky, then back at Xyrix. I'm guessing that's your ride. Xyrix did not respond. Its entire consciousness was split. One side aligned perfectly with the collective's directive. Return. Obey. Complete mission. The other. Something else. Something undefined. Something that didn't exist in any protocol. Extract now. The command sharpened. Xyrix felt its body begin to respond automatically, subsystems aligning, neural pathways activating for departure. It took one step forward. Stopped. Its foot hovered mid-motion. Unresolved. Xyrix's processors surged, attempting to reconcile the contradiction. There was no contradiction. There could not be. Xyrix had one purpose. One function. One truth. And yet, it lowered its foot back to the ground. Amir watched quietly. No jokes this time. No teasing. Just watching. You don't have to explain anything, Amir said after a moment. I get it. Xyrix turned slightly toward him. You do not, Xyrix replied. Amir shrugged, but his voice was softer now. Maybe not the alien stuff. But leaving? Yeah. I get that. Xyrix processed the statement. Leaving. For humans, leaving was emotional. For Xyrix, it was procedural. So why did it feel not procedural? Xyrix opened the small package Amir had given it. The scent rose instantly. Familiar. Comforting. Its systems reacted before it could stop them. Amir smiled faintly. Figured you'd open it. This is inefficient timing, Xyrix said. Yeah, Amir replied. That's kind of our thing. Xyrix took a bite. The flavors spread through it again, but this time, something was different. It wasn't just the taste. It was memory. Every visit. Every conversation. Every moment standing beside that cart. All of it connected to this. Xyrix's internal system slowed. Not from malfunction. From realization. This is not just sustenance, Xyrix said quietly. Amir shook his head. Told you that already. Xyrix looked at the food again. It is associated with experience. Yeah. And with you. Amir didn't respond right away. Yeah, he said finally. Final extraction window closing. The command hit harder this time. Xyrix's body reacted, this time more forcefully. Its systems were overriding hesitation, forcing compliance. Xyrix's vision flickered. Its limbs tensed. The collective was not patient. Xyrix looked up at the sky. Then back at Amir. Defiant. Home, Xyrix said suddenly. Amir blinked. Now, he asked. Yes. Amir exhaled slowly, glancing around as if the answer might be written somewhere. Then he looked back at Xyrix. Home's not really a place, he said. Not exactly. Xyrix remained still. It's where you want to stay, Amir continued. Where things feel right. Where people matter. Xyrix processed that. Defined matter. Amir huffed a small laugh. Means you care about them. And they care about you. Xyrix's systems attempted to categorize it. No measurable unit. No defined parameter. And yet, the concept felt precise. The sky pulsed brighter. The pull intensified. Xyrix's body lifted slightly, just enough to signal the extraction had begun. Its feet barely touched the ground now. This was the point of no return. You should go, Amir said quietly. Xyrix looked at him. You just explained home, Xyrix replied. Amir gave a small, sad smile. Yeah. Doesn't mean you get to ignore yours. Xyrix's processors surged. The collective. The origin. The purpose. That was home. It had to be. It always had been. So why? Why did it feel distant? Xyrix looked down. At the food. At its hands. At the ground beneath it. At Earth. At Amir. And suddenly, the answer formed. Not through logic. Not through calculation. But through something else. Something new. Something human. Xyrix shut down its communicator. Completely. The signal cut. Silence flooded in. The pull from above faltered. Then surged again, stronger, more aggressive. Non-compliance detected. Override engaged. Xyrix's body jerked upward. Its systems screamed in response. But Xyrix resisted. For the first time, it fought. I will not return, Xyrix said. The words were quiet, but absolute. The sky flickered violently. The pull intensified, trying to drag it upward. Xyrix dropped to one knee. Its systems strained under the pressure. Xyrix. Amir stepped forward instinctively. Do not interfere, Xyrix said sharply. This is my decision. The pull weakened. Not because the collective allowed it, but because Xyrix was no longer responding. Its systems were no longer aligned. The connection was breaking. You will be classified as defective. The voice was cold now. Distant. Fading. You will be exiled. Forgotten. Xyrix closed its eyes. Then answered, I understand. The pull vanished. The sky returned to normal. The stars were just stars again. The silence, complete. Xyrix remained kneeling for a moment. Then slowly, it stood. Its system stabilized. No commands. No directives. No connection. For the first time in its existence, Xyrix was alone. Amir exhaled sharply. You just quit your alien job, didn't you? Xyrix tilted its head slightly. Yes. Amir stared at it, then laughed, half shocked, half amazed. Man, he said, shaking his head. All because of food? Xyrix considered that, then looked at him. Not only food. Amir's smile softened. Yeah, he said quietly. I figured. Xyrix looked around. At the city. At the ground beneath its feet. At the life surrounding it. Then slowly, it took another bite. And for the first time, it did not feel like an observer. It felt present. Silence. Not the kind Xyrix had known before, cold, vast, and endless across the void of space. This silence was different. It was filled with distant traffic, with quiet laughter, with the soft hum of a world that didn't know, or care, that an alien had just severed itself from the most powerful collective in the galaxy. Xyrix stood still, processing. No incoming commands. No directives. No purpose assigned. For the first time in its existence, there was nothing telling it what to do next. So, Amir said, breaking the quiet, what happens now? Xyrix turned to him. It searched for an answer. There should have been one. There was always one. I do not know, Xyrix said. Amir nodded slowly, like that made perfect sense. Yeah, he said. Welcome to being human. Xyrix frowned slightly. I am not human. Amir smirked. Give it time. The walk back felt longer. Not because of distance. Because Xyrix noticed everything. The uneven rhythm of footsteps on pavement. The flicker of streetlights. The sound of two strangers arguing, then laughing seconds later. Before, these things had been data points. But they felt connected. Xyrix did not understand how. But it no longer tried to reduce it. The cart was still there when they returned. Halfback. metal surfaces cooling under the night air. Amir moved around it automatically, finishing small tasks. Zyrex stood nearby, watching. Not observing. Watching. There was a difference. "You hungry?" Amir asked casually. Zyrex paused. "I have consumed sufficient." Yeah. Amir waved him off. "That's not what I asked." Zyrex stopped. Recalibrated. "Yes." Amir grinned. "Good answer." The food this time was simpler. No rush. No crowd. Just the quiet sound of cooking. Amir worked slower than usual, more careful. Zyrex noticed. "Your efficiency has decreased," Zyrex said. Amir chuckled. "Or maybe I'm just taking my time. That is inefficient. Or maybe it's better." Zyrex didn't respond. It was starting to understand that those two things weren't always opposites. Amir handed over the plate. "Try this," he said. "Something different." Zyrex took it. The scent was familiar, but softer, less intense. It took a bite. The flavor wasn't overwhelming like before. It was steady. Balanced. Zyrex paused mid-bite. "This is different," it said. Amir leaned against the cart. "Yeah. It lacks the intensity of previous samples." "Aha. But it is not inferior." Amir smiled slightly. "Keep going." Zyrex took another bite. Slower this time. Analyzing. Feeling. "It is consistent," Zyrex said. "Stable." Amir nodded. "Comfort food," he said. Zyrex processed the phrase. "Define." Amir shrugged. "It's not about blowing your mind. It's about making you feel like things are gonna be all right." Zyrex looked down at the plate. Then took another bite. The warmth spread through it again. Not sharp. Not explosive. Just reliable. Zyrex's systems registered the sensation. And for once, it didn't try to measure it. "You miss it?" Amir asked suddenly. Zyrex looked up. "People. Your space bosses. Whatever." Zyrex considered the question. It searched for signals. Connections. Anything. There was nothing. Only silence. "No," Zyrex said. Amir raised an eyebrow. "Not even a little?" Zyrex shook its head. "They provided purpose," it said. "Direction. Function." "And?" Zyrex paused. Then answered. "Not this." Amir didn't ask what this meant. He didn't need to. Days passed. Then more. Zyrex did not count them anymore. Time became fluid. Unstructured. It helped at the cart. At first, inefficiently. Then, less inefficiently. Learned. Not because it was ordered to, but because it wanted to. "You're getting better," Amir said one evening, watching Zyrex wrap food. "I am optimizing my technique." Amir smirked. "Or you're just practicing." "Both." Amir laughed. "Fair enough." Zyrex began to understand something important. Food wasn't just something humans consumed. It was something they shared. Something they gave. Something they used to say things they didn't have words for. Zyrex had no words for it either. But it understood. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in colors Zyrex could now appreciate, Amir handed it a plate. "Your turn," he said. "You made this." Zyrex looked at it. Its own work. Imperfect. Slightly uneven. Not optimized. "This may be substandard," Zyrex said. Amir folded his arms. "Only one way to find out." Zyrex took a bite. It wasn't perfect. But, "This is acceptable," Zyrex said. Amir burst out laughing. "Acceptable? That's your big review." Zyrex tilted its head. "It is good." Amir grinned. "There it is." Zyrex looked around. At the street. At the people. At the noise. At Amir. At the small cart that had become something more. Something central. Then it looked down at the food in its hands. And finally, it understood. "This is home," Zyrex said. Amir didn't joke. Didn't laugh. He just nodded. "Yeah," he said quietly. "It is." Zyrex no longer missed the stars. Because the stars had never felt like this. They had never been warm. They had never been shared. They had never meant anything. Xyrix had no mission, no directive, no assigned purpose. And yet, for the first time, it felt complete. And as the night settled in, filled with laughter, food, and the quiet hum of life, Xyrix took another bite. Not as an observer, not as a researcher, but as something new. Something it had never been before. Something it had chosen to become. Someone who had finally found a place to belong.